In this video, I want to discuss the elements of a critique. So a critique is an essay that you write that has a summary and an evaluation. The summary comes first, and in the summary, you describe to your reader the article or the book or the movie or the architecture or the event or the person that you are going to address. So there is a part of summary where you explain what the thing is that you read or watched or whatever. And you need to assume that your reader does not have that information but needs you to provide that basic catch up, if you will, or synopsis or just summary. Now, sometimes the summary can be substantial and of some length. It depends on the thing that you're reviewing. But usually you can take care of it rather quickly. Just be sure to mention the name of the thing, the article, or the place or the event, and if it has an author or an artist connected to it, produce the name of the creator, the place where it was published or shown. So give the who, what, when, where facts in your summary. All right. Now, sometimes the summary of a critique is needs to be a little more developed because the artifact that you are evaluating or that you are writing about is in fact layered. So on one level, it has certain facts that you can just give your audience, and you need to, but then still just involved in the summary, there is maybe a different level where you say, under the surface, there's actually a message that is being delivered by the artist or by the author or by the poet or by the movie director. So if you can think of movies or art or short stories or poems that give a literal story and then also give a deeper, more profound message through that story, then in your summary, you need to deal with both of those. And it's it's a nice, easy template to follow where, as you open your essay, you discuss in one paragraph, the literal, surface level plot or poem or the description of the art piece. Okay, so that's when you would give, the name and then the name of the maker and that sort of thing, right? And then after you finish that, if it's a story, you give the plot and the characters, you just condense it. After you finish that, maybe move to another paragraph where you discuss what the author or artist was really trying to say. And in this section, it still is they are trying to convey this. The author is trying to say, the writer is saying this, right? Now, some students have a bit of trouble with this second part of this type of summary, which I would call the interpretation part, because, the question would be, well, how would you know for sure? But often there are enough clues or there are enough elements in that text or story or poem or movie where it's pretty clear that there was a deeper message being delivered, and it's not so hard to see what that message is in a general way. So, again, sometimes you'll summarize something and it just has one level of meaning to it. Okay, that's fine. That's going to be a shorter summary. Sometimes the summary is really twofold. One is you have the surface level summary of just the thing itself, but then you have to describe what you think the author was really trying to say with this piece of art or this piece of fiction. So that's really what you need to do at the beginning of a critique. Okay. Now, another name for a critique is an evaluation paper or an interpretation paper or a response. I mean, it could be referred to in all sorts of ways, but it has these two very general parts to it, the summary and then the evaluation. Now, sometimes the paper itself can be referred to as an evaluation, but here I'm using it to refer to the second main part of this. Now, at this point, it might be a little confusing because I was just talking about the summary and then dividing that into two parts, but we can maybe look at those as subparts or whatnot, because really it's going to be summary. Sometimes it's a simple summary, sometimes it's sort of a double summary. And then under the summary is the evaluation. Now, the evaluation is where you have your voice. This is where you can bring your opinions. You're not necessarily just, giving the facts that are basically indisputable, because that's what the thing is. Here's where you are responding to it and saying, this is what I like about this. This is what I don't like. This is what I believe. Here's in relation to this, topic or this idea. Here's where I agree with the artist or the author. Here's where I disagree. Here's where I agree, but I also want to expand it. You can do all sorts of things in the evaluation. You just need to stay attached or connected to the article or the thing that you're evaluating, the thing you summarized. And you need to also, have a way to expand your views down there. So let's say you read a story and you like the story and you actually like the message, you agree with it. So it doesn't work very well down there in the evaluation to say, well, I like the story, it was great, and I agree with it. End of evaluation. You're going to have to creatively learn how to expand your text with some substance down there. And maybe you can take that message and apply it to people you know today, or maybe expand it a little bit. I don't know, there are quite a few things you can do, but the important thing to remember about this critique is that the evaluation is the place where your voice comes out. And I don't mind at all if you actually use the first person in your evaluation part. You say, I believe, I think, in my opinion, I appreciate it, my view is. Now, some writing instructors or some professors really would prefer you not to use the first person pronoun, the I, the me, the my. That is not a, if they insist on that, I would say just go ahead and humor them. But that is not a genuine rule. You're going to find plenty of really good works in publication that use the first person pronoun. So it really is a matter of taste. And when you get into matters of taste, you really can't argue one way or the other. It's a matter of taste. So for me, I appreciate the first person pronoun. I think it's valuable to be used, can be used profitably, effectively. But you do have to kind of, feel out your teachers to see what they want. If they don't want that, well then, probably don't use it. But in, in the publication world, it's completely okay to use it. So, well, that's how you would do a critique. So be sure to give it a good title. Try to spend some time developing a good title. You might want two titles up there, a main title and a subtitle, and you can separate them with a colon. And also, if you are critiquing a book or an article or a news article or an essay, something like that, it would be good to refer to it by name. And then also, just to give your essay some sense of connectedness to the article, quote from it a couple times. Pick a few lines to bring into your essay. Use quotation marks, and then at the bottom, just cite the source. Okay, so those are the basics to a critique. Remember, summary and evaluation. And sometimes the summary is just a simple one paragraph summary or a summary on one level. Sometimes it needs two levels because there's a figurative meaning as well as a literal meaning to the work. So you need to summarize both of those. But nevertheless, it's still a type of summary. So summary, evaluation. All right. The summary is the they said, he said, she believes, she points out. The artist, builds into the painting this, or the movie director is insisting, it's the they said part. And then the evaluation is the I say, I believe, I think, this is my opinion, this is how I'm responding to that. All right, so I think you have the basics now to really begin crafting at least the first draft of a pretty good critique. Thank you for listening.